Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Lunchtime Live with Sharon Galuzzo. It is a beautiful, beautiful fall day here in North Carolina. Yesterday was Halloween and it was quite warm actually, and today there's that nice fall nip in the air. I noticed that the leaves are starting to change color and fall has arrived for one day. As I understand it, it's supposed to get warm again in the next couple of days. But it is fall here in North Carolina and actually everywhere, I suppose. So thoughts of fall always remind me of my dad. Whenever we moved to North Carolina, he would make it his annual tradition to come and visit us for Thanksgiving. And his Thanksgiving visit was the highlight of the fall for my family. The kids always looked forward to whatever crazy thing Grandpa with Greg was going to try bring to them. One year he brought a coconut, another year he brought a pineapple. It would just bring fun, different things. He would bring a ham instead of turkey. He didn't like to have turkey at Thanksgiving. He wanted ham. So every year he always tried to bring something different and a little bit of fun and levity to our family in the fall. And so that was our annual tradition until he passed away. And so every fall I think a lot about my dad because that seems to be that time whenever his memory is much stronger for me and for my family. So today I actually wanted to share a family story with you about my father. And I'm just trying to get my computer over here to click up onto the Facebook Live so that I can see. If you are here, say hello so that I can recognize you and let you know that I see you. If you have any comments, please put them below. They will show up for me. I'll be able to read them and I can respond to you on the comments. So please make sure that you do that. And if you watch this video later and it's not live anymore, you can still comment. So put your comments below. I'll respond to them and be happy to get into a conversation. Love to hear your thoughts on what we're doing here on Lunchtime Live. And if you have any ideas for a topic, I'd be happy to do that. I'm hoping to schedule some interviews so that it's not just me. But that's a coordination thing I've not quite gotten to yet, so that will be something to look forward to in the future. And I want to welcome you today and say thank you for being here. So today's story, or today's topic, is a story from my life. It's called Just Around the Next Bend, and you'll see why in a minute. So my family went on a vacation. It was in the summer, pretty hot. My grandparents had a motorhome, and so my father and mother decided that they were going to take the motorhome and we were going to go to the mountains and we were going to go to a woodsman's carnival. It was an amazing thing. There were all kinds of things I had never seen done with wood. They were running on it, they were carving it, they were doing all kinds of crazy things with wood and chainsaws and axes, and it was really a lot of fun. But I was about maybe 11 or 12, I guess, and for me the highlight of the vacation was the lake. The lake was not located where the carnival was, where all of the main events were located. They were up on this mountain, and so they had a big fairground type thing, and we parked our motorhome there. But before we had parked the motorhome there, we had done a little investigating, driving around and that kind of thing, and that's where we found the lake. We knew there was a lake there and that it was great for swimming, and so we found it. We knew exactly where it was, and then we parked the motorhome. Motorhomes are not really conducive to driving around mountain roads, and so my parents really weren't in favor of just taking joyrides. Plus, we got a good parking space and we were settled there. So one afternoon, I was really, really, really longing to be in the cool water of the beautiful lake and not standing out in the hot heat in the sun watching all the stuff that was going on. And so I asked my parents if we could go swimming, and I begged my parents if we could go swimming, and I asked and I begged and I negged and I did everything that I could do to convince them that we should go swimming. So finally, my father said, Jackie, I'll take her. So he decided that he and I would get our towels and bathing suits on and we would walk to the lake. Now, my father had driven the night before, knew where it was located and all of the things that we needed to do to get to the lake. So as we were leaving the area of the carnival and we got out on this little mountain road, he kind of realized that it was quite a distance from where we had parked and to the entrance of the road that would lead back to the lake itself. And so in his infinite wisdom, he decided that as these cars were driving by on this country road, that he would see if we could maybe hitchhike. And so he puts his thumb out, and eventually it had to be a Jeep of some kind, an open Jeep. It was yellow and it was full of teenage boys. And so my dad goes, we're going down to the lake. They're like, hop in. So me and my dad, I'll paint a picture for you. He was over 6 feet tall, big barrel chested guy. He was a big dude. And here's me, little tiny scrawny, probably about, 70, 80 pounds at that point. Little girl in a bathing suit with sneakers and a towel. And we were going to the lake. And so they invited us to hop on, and so we got in the Jeep and we headed down the mountain road at a breakneck speed. I cannot tell you how fast these boys were driving, but I was a little bit terrified. So when we finally got about, say a mile down the road, they stopped the Jeep, to my grateful heart, and let us out. And so we were going to hike the rest of the way over to the lake. So that was a little bit of a terrifying part of our first journey, and my dad's like, you're fine, you're fine. Those boys, they didn't mean any harm. And so we start walking back the road to the lake. And we walked along and we were talking and chatting. And now remember, it's summer, it's hot, the sun is beating down on us, and we are trudging our way happily to the lake. And we start walking. And we walked for a while, and we kept walking, and we walked a little further, and I got to the point where I was like, Dad, where is this? How much further is it? And he's like, well, we were down here last night, and oh, I know where we are. It's just around the next bend. So I was like, all right, we're almost there. It's just around the next bend. And so we continued to walk down the hot road. I think it was like not dirt road, but had like gravel on it. And so we were hiking and we were walking and we were walking, and I was getting tired again and hot and wasn't sure where we were. And I was like, well, Dad, how much further? And he goes, looks around, looks at the trees. I'll have to pause here and tell you that my father had the best innate sense of direction I have ever known. I swear that you could put my father in the middle of a jungle, just drop him there with nothing, and he would find his way out. He was magnificent at driving on crazy roads, getting lost, and finding his way back out. And he just he was always calm about it. He always just leaned back and looked around and, oh, looks like we should take this road. And if that was a dead end, then he'd just turn around and go back another way. But he never turned around and went back the way we came. He always found a new way to go. And he was really incredibly gifted at having this sense of direction. And so I trusted him completely. And so when he would look around and he would go, oh, yeah, oh, I recognize this. I recognize that tree. Yeah. It's just around the next bend, honey. And so my energy would be regained, and I would be so excited. I was like, we're gonna be swimming soon. And we would walk around and we'd walk up, and this was a huge, I mean, it was like big, giant turns. These weren't very, it wasn't like a hairpin thing. This was a big road, and the curves were big curves. And so we would walk up, and we'd get to the top of the next curve, and I would look, and there would be road. Just more road. And so we would keep walking. But I knew that the lake was there. I was pretty sure. We'd been there the night before, so I was certain that it was down that road. And, well, my dad told me it was, so I was confident. It's just around the next bend. And so we continue walking down the road, and we eventually get to another spot where I'm very tired, and I'm looking up at him, and I'm like, Daddy, when are we going to get there? And so he said, it's just around the next bend. And so we hiked again and got to the top of the next bend and saw nothing but road. And by this point, it had become a joke, and we were both in on it. And so as we walked and I got tired again and I got a little bit discouraged, I looked at my dad and I said, it's just around the next bend, isn't it? And he said, yes, it is. And so we walked for miles. While my father remembered where the lake was and that it was on that road, he didn't remember how far it was. But we both knew that it was just around the next bend. And so we walked and we laughed and we journeyed together. And eventually that lake was just around the next bend, and we made it. We got there. And it was the most glorious day of swimming I have ever had in my life. I walked into the mucky, muddy water and dove into this crystal clear mountain lake and had the time of my life. Eventually my mother did drive down a couple hours later. I guess she relented and decided that she wasn't walking all that way, so she drove the motorhome down, and I have photographs and memories of us swimming in the lake that day. And so I was thinking about this story the other day. I can't remember what I passed. I passed something and I thought of my dad. And I thought, oh, that story, it's just around the next bend. It became a family touchstone, a family joke. Whenever we were going somewhere and we didn't know how much further it was going to be, it was always just around the next bend. And with my own children, we had our own just around the next bend story one time, also in the mountains, oddly enough. They were on break from school, and it was just me and the girls, and they were in elementary school, and I took them up to the mountains in North Carolina, and we had found a gem mining operation that we wanted to visit, and we wanted to go to that particular gem mining place because that looked like the best one. And I had planned out the entire trip before we left. I knew all the places we were visiting, and we were going to go to this gem mine. And so we packed up in the car and we started driving, and we drove and we drove and we drove, and we got lost, and we turned around on these hairpin mountain roads because we were going the wrong direction. And mind you, this is before GPS. This is before your phone told you where you were going. And so we drove, and I shared with them the story of me and Grandpa Greg, and walking to the lake and it being just around the next bend, and how this was our just around the next bend story. And so we just kept driving and laughing and enjoying ourselves until eventually we did find the gem mine we were looking for. And it was just a really neat kind of thing that I could pass on to my kids about it's just around the next bend. And the reason I wanted to share that particular story with you, we're really talking about our businesses and how to be successful in our businesses. And sometimes we know where we want to go. We know that that place we want to reach is out there. We know we're on the right road. It's just taking us a long time to get there. And we're starting to get tired. And we hear all the stories about, oh, you know, don't stop 5 feet from gold, keep going. And those are really encouraging stories. But as we're walking on those paths, we get tired. It's hot. We're not dressed for the journey. We didn't expect it to take this long. And we need to look up at somebody and say, how much further is it? How much, when will we get to our destination? Where is the lake? And that's whenever we need to have people around us that can be like my dad was for me. To go, you know what? It's just around the next bend. You're on the right road. To be that voice of encouragement, to give you that energy and that jolt of a little bit of, oh yeah, a little more adrenaline, a little more energy, a little bit of more what I need to do to keep going. And even when you get around that next bend and it's not where you expected to be, it's where you're supposed to be. You're still on the right path. Even if you turn that corner and you expect the lake to be there and it's not there yet, don't give up. Don't be discouraged. Keep going. It's just around the next bend. And you will reach your destination if you stay on the path, if you keep going. But along the way, you need people that can encourage you and help you to, oh, my storage is almost full, and can help you move forward. I want to say hello to Dan Weiniger. You're a great encourager. You are a wonderful person to have on our paths as we're moving forward and we're getting tired and we are asking, when are we going to get to the lake? You are a great person to say, it's just around the next bend. You can do this. I believe in you. And I just wanted to give you a shout out because you are a magnificent encourager. And I'd like to hear from you on your comments below. What kind of encouragement do you like to have? Who do you need? Do you ever get to that point where you look around and you're like, I'm all alone here on this long road and I don't know when I'm going to get where I'm going? You should always have somebody with you. And look around your circle of people and your circle of influence and find out who can be that encourager on your path as you are moving forward in your business and you are reaching that lake, when you're on the road and you're going down the road and it's just around the next bend. Who's there to tell you you can keep going? Who's there to share the joke with you? Who's there to encourage and laugh and be that support person that you need? If you don't have one, get one. If I can be of any encouragement and support to you, please let me know, because I know that you can get there. I believe in you. I am so encouraged by just every step that you take and everything that you do to move your business forward. I celebrate all of those little steps along the way with you. So I just want to encourage you to know that you're on the right road, that it is just around the next bend. Even if it's not the next bend, it might be the next or the next or the next bend, but you're going to get there, and I know you will. I want you to have someone there to pat you on the back, to encourage you, to give you strength and energize you whenever you need it. And that is my story, my message, my word for the day, if you will. I wanted to just pay tribute to my dad and share that story with you. That is so I've never really thought about it till recently, about it being encouragement for my business. It's always just kind of been a family joke. But what a great teacher he was. What a great support. What a great partner he always was. And I just wanted to share with you. Let me find where I put it. My book is almost ready. I have the print copy. We're still finalizing the ebook and the website, so the launch will be very, very soon. But I did want to read this to you because I shared the story about my dad today. So this is actually the dedication from the front of my book, Legendary Business from Rats to Riches. And it says, "For my mother, my first and best connection. For my dad, for always believing in me. The wind beneath my wings." So I'm getting a little teary thinking about my parents and how wonderful and supportive they've always been to me, but that my dad always believed in me. Even walking on that crazy mountain road, he knew that we could make it. And he knew that I would always be successful in my life. And I hope that you have somebody in your life that is that person for you. I am very sorry to not expect this. And I would love to be an encouragement for you in any way that I can. And I just want to remind you, if you would like to be notified of when the book launch is going to be announced and all of that information, that you can go to SharonGaluzzo.com, go to the contact button, and click on the contact button. It will bring up an email chain, and you can just, in the subject box, just put book, and then your message can just be add me to the list. And I will add you to the list of notifications whenever we have the book launch information available. And had a couple people that wanted to say hi. Here's Maya. She says hi. And here is Holden Rat, and he's saying hello as well. Charles, he says the book will be out soon. Look for him. And then, of course, we have Charlotte. Darnell is nowhere to be found. Typical Darnell, can't find him again. So anyway, thank you for joining me for Lunchtime Live. I hope you enjoyed your lunch, and I hope you enjoyed our time together. And go out, get some encouragement, be an encourager, and thank you for joining us today for Lunchtime Live.